obviously welcome to the call if you're watching live, and also if you're watching the replay. I'm holding space for you and I'm welcoming you to the recording as well. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Liz Doyle. I'm the Positive Change Coach. And what I do, I really help women to love themselves unconditionally. And this is a big one. It sounds so simple, but it really is a big one. And what we want to do along the way is release negative beliefs that have been really keeping them stuck in a constant loop of often not feeling good enough and comparing themselves to others. So a really big heartfelt welcome. And I'm really looking forward to sharing, what I do, what this course is all about, and my 3 top secrets, which I hope you'll take away and you can start putting into action straight away. And of course, if you've got any questions as we go along, I'll quickly check the chat now. And I know that Zoe said that she's on the road, so I will look out for that. And so she's had to go, but she will get the recording of this. So it was nice to have her join us even for a couple of minutes. So I'm really looking forward to guiding you through this session to share those 3 secrets that I mentioned of how I let go of the weight once and for all in my life, which I think is a big one because, sometimes we can lose the weight and then it just seems to go back on again. And we get into that real loop of, it becomes more toxic, that relationship with your body and with food. And it's like a downward spiral. That's the only way I could think about it. I became obsessed with how I looked and how unhappy I was with how I looked. And it's really interesting that how many people who meet me now or in the last few years have thought I've always been on the slimmer side. And they see me eat and they think, oh, you can eat anything and never put on weight. And that was definitely not the case. And, I'm going to share more on that, but it couldn't be further from the truth for how I live my life. And of course, I'm going to pick somebody from today's call to give you a very special prize giveaway. So I will tell you about that later after the call. And as I said, I've had it so that the videos are switched off because it really helps with the replay. And obviously then you've got this as well as the replay for those, for you who've joined live. And there will also be it's not handout, is it? But you know what I mean? I'm going to be sending you something as well to go alongside the recording. So you've got something that you can print off just to remind you of the tips I'm sharing. And please share in the chat box any questions you have or any comments as we go along, because don't feel that just because you're not talking that you can't also just pop something in the chat. So I will check on it now and again to see if there's any comments in there. So who here is sick of that roller coaster relationship with food? And possibly it could be along with fizzy drinks, it could be with alcohol as well. It's that whole everything we kind of basically put into our mouths. And who's fed up of looking in their wardrobe and feeling so unhappy that you can't fit into an awful lot of your clothes anymore? Or some women have 2 wardrobes. And I used to kind of put on clothes, my heart used to sink. Especially we're in the summer now, and I think, oh, will I still fit into that skirt, or whatever I used to say to myself. So do you keep sabotaging yourself? Do you lack self-confidence or very little energy? Or do you feel really alone with this situation with your weight? Feeling that other people just don't really understand, they don't get it. I was definitely one of those people. I didn't talk about it with people because I didn't really want people to know how unhappy I was with my weight. I used to get plenty of criticism from my ex-husband. So there was a lot of that going on as well about how I looked. And that obviously didn't help. Well, I will go talk about that a bit more later. Maybe you think enough is enough. I know how you feel. And I was there for many, many years. When I was around 16 to 18, I started putting on a lot of weight. I do know why. I was becoming less active, eating more, obviously, but there was a lot of stresses at home. My dad went bankrupt in that period, And it's kind of a hazy, like when you look back, I can't quite remember when it all started, but it was very, we lost, the home I grew up in from the age of 6 months old. And watching him suffer was really, really terrible because I was very close to my dad. So it was a very traumatic time. And that definitely made me I realize now we didn't really give those labels back then, but it was emotional eating. It was definitely, I used to eat to numb everything and forget. And so any of those emotions used to come up, I used to just literally run for the biscuit tin. We actually had a biscuit cupboard. That's how, how we viewed biscuits in our house. And so obviously that was the time when dieting started in my life, because I thought, well, I can't, I don't want to look like this. And I'd lose the weight and I'd put the weight back on again. I'd lose it and put it back on again, over and over. This went on for years, most of my adult life, really. And this is when I really started to hate my body. I compared to myself to my much taller and much slimmer friend all the time, really. So whenever we went out, it was like I really felt like the short, dumpy one. I'd actually compare myself to everyone else because I got this idea that I was the only one that looked like that, and I was the only one that had that problem. And there was nothing I liked about my body, and I mean nothing, unless it was really, really covered up. But then, I couldn't hopefully see it. And over the years, I think I've tried an awful lot of diets and other ways to lose weight. And there's so many out there. I haven't done them all, of course. I did draw the line at the cabbage soup diet. I couldn't, the smell was just disgusting, and I just didn't go there. Again, if you've got any, if there's any that you went for, or if any of you tried this as well, then just let me know. I had, at the age of 17, I still shudder when I think about this, I had injections in my bottom in a Harley Street clinic. God knows how much it cost. I certainly didn't have the money for them. I went on the Edam and orange diet. I quite like the taste of those two. I took diet pills. I went on the very famous low-fat diet back in the day, which turned out, which I didn't know at the time, didn't understand all of this, to be very high in sugar. I won't say the woman's name, but it was a real big thing. And the damage that was done, slightly kind of still got that shame around this. When I got sick with colitis, I got very sick and I lost a lot of weight. And I really liked that about it, Breastfeeding. So when I started breastfeeding my first daughter, after a few months, I just lost loads of weight. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. Unfortunately, it didn't happen with my second, nor my third. And I don't know why. So, that's not a route for losing weight. Yes, Regine. Yeah, honestly, it was crazy when you look back. Yes, the low-fat diet, that we could eat sweets and things like that. I mean, that's mad, isn't it? And what it did to our blood sugar levels over the years is crazy. I tried hypnotherapy. I also, you've probably heard of this, the vibrating belly belt thing. I can't remember. I won't say the trade name, but yeah, that was painful. I tried sniffing pens, and this still makes me laugh. They smelled nice. You had one for every day of the week. I don't know. I've no idea if they're still around. I went on detoxes and I went on fasts. And of course, there were lots of other healthier long-term plans. But because my thinking wasn't right, the weight always went back on again. And I mean, always. I mean, at Christmas, and like that period over Christmas, I would binge, stuff my face basically with chocolates, mince pies, you name it. And I'd just say to myself, well, I'll diet in the new year. I'll go on my new year diet. And many a time I would eat secretly in the kitchen, hoping nobody would come in. And a couple of times they did. In the summer, I'd eat kind of cakes, ice cream, not just on holiday, but it felt like throughout the whole summer. And I would really hate myself because I just thought I had no willpower. And this has got nothing to do with willpower. I definitely self-medicated with chocolate, biscuits, and over the years with wine. And I felt lonely and depressed. And I'm not sure if any of this resonates with you, but again, if you want to share in the chat box or let me know afterwards, drop me an email afterwards. So where did things change? Well, around 10 to 12 years ago, when I look back, I realized I started on a journey of self-discovery and self-love. And I know it sounds cheesy because I was quite skeptical before I started this. And even if somebody said to me back then, that's what you're doing, I think I would have gone, yeah, right. I really started to love and appreciate me and my body more. Now, I'm not saying it happened overnight, no way. But what happened, I stopped dieting. I threw out the bathroom scales, which I've never bought one since. A lifelong love affair, a lifelong love affair with sugar. Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a, that resonates with me big time. And I was, like kind of go out and I'd get all the sugary chocolate as well, so, 3 bars. I think I'll get them and that'll keep me going over a few days, but they were gone in one go. But anyway. And also I started making healthier choices when eating, but without trying, without obsessing about it. And I exercised because I really wanted to, not because I felt I had to. And I still have that now. I love exercising. And when I was young, if you'd said that, but I do the things I love that bring me joy, like Zumba. Now, I know that's not for everybody. I'm just giving you my example. It's things that bring you, and that can happen. It doesn't have to be, I used to hate, anything. I still wouldn't go to the gym now, but that some people love it. But I used to find the gym soul destroying, to be honest. All those mirrors everywhere, I couldn't bear it. So I'm not saying I'm now super slim. I'm slim, but I'm not super slim. I'm not super fit either. But what I am is really happy with my size. And I feel strong and fit and energetic most of the time anyway. But I know to listen to my body as well, because I love my body and I love myself. And believe me, it's taken, it takes a while, but, I would never have said that about myself, back then. So later on, having discovered Louise Hay, and you don't have to have heard of her, by the way, but I came across Louise Hay because a friend recommended that I needed her in my life. That brought me to the training to become licensed to share her teachings. I discovered that her philosophies about our bodies were so aligned with my own beliefs about body image. I've also noticed that so many of my clients, maybe 90% of my clients, either have a hate, if you like, relationship with their bodies or food or both. So for a long time, I've been thinking, why not create a course to share this with other women, letting go of the weight? So putting together Louise's philosophies and my own experiences and knowledge. Now, men can do this, of course, but I think women especially are bombarded with messages of not looking the right way from such an early age. And the situation is only getting worse, much, much worse. When I think about how bad I felt about my body when I was younger, I don't know, without social media that's out there, that's 24/7, I really hate to think how it would have affected me, that we have around us, all this rubbish that we have around us all the time. So today I'm going to share with you my top 3 secrets to what changed so much for me in letting go of the weight once and for all. And these secrets are included in more detail, of course, in my online course, Letting Go of the Weight, which I'll talk about later. Yes, there will be a sales bit with this, but I will keep it brief. So let's dive straight in. Now, the very first thing was the mirror. Now, there won't be any slides today. I should have mentioned it earlier. This is how I coach. My videos in the course is me communicating in this way, because I do believe that, that's how you need, you've got everything you need to go alongside, but sometimes I think slides take away from the communication, even on these online sessions. So the mirror, yes. So that's why you've got your mirror with you. And if you don't have it with you, you can use your phone at a stretch, or just, even if you don't have just close your eyes and imagine you're looking into your own eyes. Now, that won't be as powerful, but if you put into practice what I share now going forward, then you'll start to reprogram, yes, rewire your brain. So what did I do? Well, I read somewhere about this back all those years ago. And then I started to do it every single day. Now, I'm not going to ask you to do that now, but it is an integral part of my course, especially my meditation that goes on alongside that particular day. So I stood in front of a mirror with no clothes on. Well, I lie, because at first I couldn't do that at all. So I wore some underwear. And after a while, I did stand naked in front of a full-length mirror. I didn't even have a full-length mirror because I hated myself so much looking at myself. So I had to go and buy a cheap one from IKEA. So every day I would tell myself how much I loved my body. I would touch different parts of my body and try to appreciate them. Now, I say try because it was so bloody hard at first. I cried and I was so full of self-loathing, but after a while, something shifted. Now, we're going to try this on a very small scale right now. And this is Louise Hay's work. But how strangely close is that to what I did all those years ago? Which is, I hadn't even heard of Louise back then. So just using our handheld mirrors. So I'd like you to get your mirror out now. I'm just going to have a little sip before I carry on showing this. So if you get your mirror ready and just start looking deeply into your own eyes. Resist the temptation to look away. Keep looking into your own eyes. And I'd like you to say out loud, and that's really important to say out loud, I love and approve of myself exactly as I am. And now notice, carry on looking at yourself. Notice your feelings, your thoughts. Try not to judge them. Just notice. Carry on looking at yourself in the mirror. Just notice what goes on having said those words. I really understand if this is initially extremely uncomfortable, but I'm going to ask you to carry on looking at yourself. Really look into your own eyes. Resist that temptation that keeps popping up maybe to look away. Stay with it. And if there are tears, that's also okay. Just notice what you think and feel. Did you immediately criticize yourself? Just notice what's happening. Now, still looking in the mirror, say your name out loud and finish the sentence. I could love you more if. Now what comes up? Still looking into your own eyes, say out loud. No more ifs. I am willing to love you just the way you are. And still looking into the mirror, say your name again and say, I love you. I really, really love you. Is there a part of you that doesn't believe it? That's okay. Let's just try saying it again. I love you. I really, really love you. If that's just impossible to say right now, say to yourself, I am willing to love you just the way you are. Just allow those uncomfortable feelings to pass through. This all gets easier and easier, I promise. And as I said, if you do experience tears, that's okay. Looking into your own eyes like this, it can trigger an awful lot of feelings. If you immediately criticize yourself, just try gently to stop those thoughts. Now I'd like you to carry on looking into your mirror deeply into your eyes. And this might be the first time, maybe the first time you've ever done this, or maybe the first time for a long time. I remember when I was young, I looked in the mirror and said, I hate you. I was quite happy to say that, but to say I love you was just impossible for such a long time. So looking deeply into your eyes, I want you to tell yourself out loud, I deserve to have the body I want. Again, notice the feelings. Just notice those feelings that statement brings up. Because awareness of your feelings is vital to your success in releasing this weight once and for all. Be willing to become aware of those feelings and those thoughts. Just allow yourself to feel them. Now you can put down your mirror. So let me just check. How was that for you? How did the mirror work feel? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being impossible or really, really hard. Because it's okay if you became emotional. It's challenging. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, okay. Uncomfortable is not bad, uncomfortable and challenging. Yes, I get that. It's really challenging. And I know other clients of mine or have, still continue to have challenges. And we've talked about this before. And I really believe, it's just to ask yourself, yeah, then I've got a great, I came across this, I think as you're looking at yourself and you get older, you can say things to yourself in the mirror like, I'm looking better and better every day. Try and have fun with it as much as you can. And I'm not saying push through resistance, but sometimes when we have so much resistance around something, that's when we can have the biggest breakthrough. And also, and I was told this personally, when I was doing all of this work, and even at my training, I had so much resistance. It's not true. Honestly, I was like kicking and screaming. I knew, part of me knew I needed it desperately, but my subconscious was hanging on to the old beliefs that weren't serving me, because it was just comfortable being uncomfortable. So we just need to ask ourselves, what is this? What am I feeling about this? Why am I feeling these thoughts? When did they first come up for me? Because, these have all come from our childhood, but I won't go into that right now. So it's okay if you got emotional. Remember, it's okay, and be so full of compassion for yourself. So I would ask you, can you practice this mirror work exercise every day? And as I said, I will send you a little handout that goes up alongside, so you've got something to refer to. Because I'm not saying it's the only thing at all. It's such an important part of this process. And it made such a difference to me. And I still do this work every single day, more than once or twice, 3 times, 4 times. Whenever I'm in front of a mirror, I will check in with myself. It's an amazing exercise. So that's mirror work is number 1 of my 3 secrets to letting go of the weight once and for all. So number 2 is I started to realize that what was holding me in situations that no longer served me, like holding on to the weight, wasn't laziness or lack of willpower. Yeah. Like I said, that has nothing to do with it. Willpower it can only operate for a very short space of time. And, I know that now, but at the time I didn't know that. So it was the power of my deeply held beliefs and habits. And until I could start to release those old outgrown beliefs, they would just continue to hold me back from what I wanted. So I'm now going to ask you a couple of questions, okay? You can even journal about them as I ask you, if you like, in your journal, your notebook. Okay. So Do you deserve to be your ideal weight? Do you feel you deserve to have the strong, healthy, and vibrant body you want? You might have said yes, but there might have been somewhere deep down inside that makes you feel that you don't really deserve it. Beliefs are thoughts that we accept as the truth. That's all they are. So what we think about the world and ourselves become true for us. And what we choose to believe, well, it can expand and enrich our world or do quite the opposite. So whatever your beliefs might be about yourself and also about the world around you, they are only thoughts. And thoughts can be changed. We don't have to carry on thinking those same old thoughts. And sometimes we don't put enough effort into creating a good life for ourselves because deep down, we don't believe we deserve it. The belief that we're not deserving often comes from our early childhood experiences. We could also be buying into other people's concepts or opinions that have absolutely nothing to do with our own reality. Now, you might not have big problems around this area, but you might still be surprised with what comes up for you. And if this is an area of difficulty, then it's going to be really good to do the following exercise a few more times. And give yourself permission to explore the past and cry if necessary. You know, Louise Hay would say, tears are the river of life, and they are very cleansing. So I'm a big believer that there's nothing wrong with crying at all. Again, it makes, maybe women don't have such a hard time around that, but men certainly do, don't they? Still in this day and age, but still, we still feel that kind of shame around, breaking down and crying. I don't want anyone to feel that way. So I'm going to ask you to write down your answers to these questions. I'm going to whiz through it a bit because I want you to get loads of value, and I'm aware that we've only got another half an hour. But again, I will send out the questions again so you can do the exercise afterwards. But it's really good as you're sitting here now to do it alongside me. There's a power in doing this work together. There really is. Okay, so first of all, what do you want that you are not having? So be as clear and specific about it as possible. How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? What do you want that you're not having? Next question. What were the rules or the laws in your home about deserving? So in other words, what were you told, or was there an implication that you weren't deserving? Did you always have to earn in order to deserve? Did earning work for you? Or were things taken away from you when you did something wrong? Or were you told things like, eat all your dinner, think of all those starving children around the world? There's lots of those sort of things, aren't there? So what were the rules or the laws in your home about deserving? And obviously, if I'm going a little bit too fast, you can come back to this later to carry on with the exercise. But really give yourself the time to do that because you're worth taking the time to do this exercise. Do you feel you deserve? So what's the image that comes up when I ask that question? Later, when I earn it, I have to work for it first. When I lose the weight. Are you good enough? Will you ever be good enough? So do you feel you deserve? So my next question is, what do you deserve? I deserve love and joy and all good? Or do you feel deep down that you don't really deserve much in life? Why? Where did the message come from? Are you willing to let it go? What are you willing to put in its place? What do you deserve? And remember, these are thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. And I know I've whizzed through that very quickly, but you can see from doing that exercise or from those questions generally that our personal power is affected by the way we feel about deserving. Okay, so now I'd like you to get your mirror out again, if you've got it to the side of you. It's going to be more powerful by looking deeply into your eyes and saying this sentence to yourself out loud. Did I say that? I deserve to be at my ideal weight. Let's say it again. I deserve to be at my ideal weight. Let's try it one more time. I deserve to be at my ideal weight. And again, just notice your thoughts and feelings around that. But it does get easier to say. And I feel I'm taking you through all of this rather quickly, but they are really important. So I want you to get as much from this session as possible so that you can put them into action straight away. And you know what, obviously as well, some will resonate more with you than others at this stage. And that's okay too. So secret number 2 of how I let go of the weight is all about my beliefs and changing those beliefs that no longer serve me, that are holding me back. And here's secret number 3. So most people who are overweight they're often judged by themselves and others as not having willpower. They feel shame and anger, and they criticize themselves constantly about not losing weight. And I know just how that feels. And I have to remind myself, we're all on this journey, you know, I haven't come out the other side and I never, ever, you know, have those feelings and I don't judge myself, but I know how to gently bring myself back. So when someone's overweight, it's noticeable to everyone, isn't it? Whereas like other life issues like finances or relationships or even some illnesses can be hidden from others. So have you been criticizing yourself for not releasing the weight or sticking with a diet? And again, if you need to share in the chat, if you want to, please feel free. Just feel, you know. And if you said yes to that question, you have identified a major block to change already. I know I was always, and I mean always, criticizing myself about my weight, but also about other things as well. I would say all sorts of things to myself. They were really awful. But hating my body was such an easy thing to do because, well, it was always there, wasn't it? All around me, all the time. That even when I lost the weight, I never felt I'd lost enough, or I was always thinking, you know, I was thinking, oh God, it's going to go back on. You know, I knew, basically. I knew. I didn't worry. I just knew it was going to go back on because I knew that it just did, because it always did. So I just felt, well, that's what's just going to happen. Yes. So Regine, I berate myself when I eat several bars of chocolate in a row. I feel a failure, but still love the taste. Yes. So it's getting to a stage where you can have some chocolate. I love chocolate, but I would eat 2 or 3. I'd eat chocolate until I was feeling sick. I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do it. It's not to do with I can't, I don't feel I can, I'm not allowed. I just don't want to. It's such an easy thing. And we're in this trap for a long, long time. I know exactly. Yes. So that is definitely linked to that. So the next thing, I'm scared of not living with food I love. So that is very much linked to the emotional, how it makes you feel when you eat it, and what it's blocking out, what it's numbing when you eat, because it's bringing you that momentary joy. But it's very, very short-lived. And that's why you need more of it as well. But also criticism doesn't help. And deep down, you know that. Ironically, the more you criticize yourself, the harder it is to let go of the weight. So nowadays we call it body shaming, don't we? We body shame ourselves, other people body shame us as well, and it's amazing how we go through life and other people say stuff and, they think, oh, it's just a joke or whatever. My ex used to talk about my belly, my chin, just really cruel things. And I know now that was more about the power as well, dynamics in the relationship. But it was so wounding. It just tore the life out of me. And of course, all it made me do was want to go and have a drink and eat some chocolate. It didn't make me do it didn't make me do anything to help myself. So I had to ask myself, the main one was me. I had to stop. Are you willing to stop criticizing yourself? So here are some of the things that probably haven't worked to help you let go of the weight. So of course, number one, criticizing yourself, depriving yourself of all the foods you enjoy, trying to control your eating, going on every new diet that comes along, and taking diet pills, which just scare me, to be honest. So if you relate to any of these, that's, a lot of us have been there, haven't we? So it's time to stop doing what hasn't worked. And the key to achieving the healthy body you want is to feel good about yourself right now, whatever your weight is now. This may seem really, really difficult. I know that. Totally, but it is absolutely key. And you will find this is key to all positive change in every area of your life. So start loving and accepting yourself just as you are right now, regardless of your weight. You don't need to be the perfect weight. Have the great job, have a certain amount of money before you can love and accept yourself. Yes, I know it can be, it's much easier said than done, isn't it? But aren't you ready to stop fighting with yourself? You've probably developed a mental habit of thinking negative thoughts about your body, along with other things about yourself. But the body is what we're talking about today. These thoughts literally wear a groove in your brain. Now it's time to think supportive thoughts about yourself and wear in some new grooves. Lay down some new neural pathways. Stop using your weight as well as an excuse not to be the magnificent person you are. Stop using your weight to hide in the background. When Adele started out, I don't think she said to herself, I can't be a singer-songwriter, I'm just too big. The world needs your talents and gifts, regardless of what your weight is and what your body looks like. And I'd also like to break down how much you might criticize yourself. How many hours, for instance, in a typical day do you spend criticizing yourself or worrying about your body or your weight? Take a guess. So let's say, it might even, if you added up all those seconds and minutes over the day in 24 hours, because maybe you're dreaming about it as well. There could be 2 hours. They could add up to a whole 2 hours if you add all those minutes up. Now multiply that number by 365. Or if it's leap year, 366. So on average, you spend 730 hours a year. How many days is that? Depleting your energy on thoughts that aren't serving you in the slightest. So from today, I'm going to ask you to try the beautiful positive affirmation from Louise Hay. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And try and say that as many times in the day as you can. So let's try it now. Let's have your mirror. Get your mirror out. Look deeply into your eyes again. Connect with your eyes. Connect with your inner wisdom, if you like. What's going on inside. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. I know it's going to be hard at first. I've been there. I know exactly, I've honestly, I couldn't have been, I was there. Literally, I just think, yeah, right, okay, let's say it. Honestly, it works. Just keep doing it. The more you repeat it, the quicker the subconscious will accept it as your new truth about yourself. So that was my very last secret for today of how I let go of the weight. I just stopped criticizing myself. And I have to bring myself back to that moment. I remind myself of it on a daily basis. So can I just say as well at this stage, if any of what we've looked at today has been extremely hard for you, you might need, I'm here for a chat, in other words. I'm here if any of this has been very challenging. So I don't want you to feel that you're on your own with this. So please just drop me an email and we can just have a quick chat and just check in. I want to check in with you because you're not alone. And I want you to know that. So whatever you do, we never talk to each other ever again. That's not a buying thing. It's not a selling thing whatsoever. I deeply care how I want other women to experience this freedom. So if you never buy anything, that's not what that's about. I want to be able to support you. So those are my 3 secrets to how I let go of the weight. They're only part of the story, of course, but they are pretty high up there, pretty important. Number 1, mirror work. And this was, and still is, such an important step of loving and accepting yourself. Number 2, my beliefs, and especially about what I believed I deserved in life, that is so big for me. Number 3, I stopped criticizing myself. Now, again, that was also huge. And again, as I said, that's a daily thing that I remind myself. I carry on with this work every single day, and how it's changed my life, not just around my body, but my relationship with food is just incredible. But it's also helped every area of my life. So if you could make that breakthrough to letting go or releasing the weight once and for all, what would that feel like for you? What would life look like for you? Being the weight you deserve, never having to go on a diet again. Hallelujah to that. Letting go of emotional eating. No more yo-yo dieting. Increasing your feelings of self-worth. And I know, I really get that this might still feel really, really hard. You've been there before and just can't see how you can get really to that place of having total freedom around what you eat and maybe drink as well. But you don't have to feel like that anymore. But first, you do have to finally deal with your stuff, the stuff you're holding on to that can be released and let go of, so you can let go of the weight. And today we've looked at the 3 areas that have made a massive, massive difference to my life, and to letting go of the weight once and for all. I can honestly, truthfully say, I think less about food, other than really enjoying its taste and its goodness more and more. So from hearing these 3 steps, you can imagine how aligned my thinking, especially around the subject of our body and weight, I was when I really started getting immersed into the world of Louise Hay. And as I said earlier, if you've not heard of Louise Hay, you don't need to, don't worry, you don't need to know who she is. This work is so powerful. I'm just going to check this message here first. Yes, I want you starting your new life in France without carrying the weight with you. Really fantastic. Yeah. and you can. Suffice to say, I realized that I wanted to share with other women my own knowledge and my own experience, as well as those life-changing philosophies of this amazing woman, Louise Hay. 21 days to letting go of the weight. And the course is made up of 21 days of videos with awareness exercises and 21 recordings of meditations to set you on that journey to release the weight once and for all. Now, you've already heard about 3 of them this evening, but of course, without the meditations and not in as much depth. So what do you do if you lose your car keys? You do everything to find them, don't you? You know, if you lost your phone, you'd be searching everywhere. I do anyway, to find it again. So the messages we send to our subconscious when we constantly talk about losing weight is, I'm losing weight. I need to find it again. I need to get it back. Maybe that explains why you might be always putting on weight, you know, after you've lost it. Your subconscious is just busy looking for it again. So how about letting go of the weight or releasing it for good? Letting go with love, even. Each day of this course, you will get access to watching a short video with awareness exercises. I will take you through step by step the whole program of how you can start this beautiful journey to literally change your thinking, to change your body. There will be a recording of a short meditation, which I encourage you, obviously, to listen to at least once, but the more the better. There will be a fabulous loving book, which accompanies the course as well. And in addition to all the videos, the meditations, the loving book, there's also a bonus video and a freebie a week after the course ends to help you even more on your journey. The 21 days to letting go of the weight will give you the behavioral, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual skills to have the body you want. Now, I'm not an expert on diet plans or exercise routines at all, or specifics of our metabolism. That's not what this course is about. This is about looking at how our subconscious works and how it's been running the show up until now. There'll be a weekly or fortnightly group coaching call where you'll be gently guided through each step of releasing the weight once and for all. And there will be also a private members only Facebook group. And you can be part of that as well. So that you can be in the opportunity, you know, if you wish, if you can be in that community, that very, very supportive community. It's a dedicated space for everyone to engage and support each other throughout the whole course, but way beyond as well. So you're in it for as long as you want to be in it, in other words. You will also have access to additional resources and inspiration to assist you at different stages of your journey in the group. I see the group growing and being invaluable for support and to inspire others. And it, as I said, it will be open to you for as long as you want to be part of it. I see this really as way more than just 21 days, but a complete life-changing program. Even though the course is called 21 days to letting go of the weight, it doesn't mean you have to do it in 21 days. You take as long as you need. So if it's 42, that's absolutely fine. I would always recommend you try to commit to what you are ready to commit to, so that you're putting yourself first. As I said, the focus of this course is on the mental, emotional, spiritual, and behavioral skills you need to live a life without diets. I'm not offering the newest diet gimmick. This is a program to help you lay the foundation for positive change. And during this course, I will help you shift from being a victim to being a winner in life.